This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
You're listening to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Mountain Glass Arts. For the month of June 2018, Mountain Glass is offering their Boro sale. Save 33% off odds and seconds. Glass Alchemy, North Star, and Troutman. They already have a discounted rate applied to this, so no coupon code is necessary. And for all you beautiful soft glass nerds that have their creations as messy, 40% off sale. All you have to do is put in the coupon code MESSY, that's MESSY at checkout to receive 40% off. And also make sure you go and check out all of the deals and discounts and sales Mountain Glass has going on weekly and monthly. They now have a brand new website they've created just to make our life a lot easier in terms of searching and finding things on there. And they also have a ton of sales going on. Right now they have 3 separate weekly sales going on. So definitely go there and subscribe to their newsletter and stay in touch with Mountain Glass, and that's mountainglass.com. Go to mountainglass.com. Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 194. This is your host, Jason Michael, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's guest is Geremiah Benge. He's a brand new glass artist, been on his own now for just under a year, and he actually reached out to me a couple months back, introduced me to Rex Estrada, who was on a couple episodes back on 192, I believe it was. And I had hit up Jeremiah kind of last minute to see if he'd like to come on the show. Had a guest fall through for today, and he was fortunate enough to be able to come on and share his journey. And, really, he's being so new to the game. He's still trying to find his way and what works for him. And you'll see here in the interview, a lot of what he is all about is diversifying his life in general, but also the glass that he works on. He's not wanting to be just a one-trick pony or just do production or whatever. He's just, again, trying to find his way, but also understands the concept of diversifying. And it seems like it's paying off for him. He's been able to go full-time on his own. He does have some financial support, per se, from his wife, who's his biggest fan. But the conversation was definitely all about the concepts of diversifying and not just being, again, a one-trick pony, which is definitely huge when it comes to not only in business but just in life in general, and being a glass artist and understanding the medium and just trying to find your way in this crazy ass world of being a glass blower, which is pretty cool. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview with him. It definitely was a lot of fun, and it was somewhat of a, not going to say quick interview, but it was somewhat of a shorter chit chat here. But that being said, a lot of things going on in this world of glass right now. A lot of new colors coming out. Color companies having sales. Our Mountain Glass is doing their sales as always. But the DFO was going on, which was the family reunion DFO, which is pretty badass. Last year they did not have it. Year before that, I think it's actually been 2 years since they've had it. And I know the last time that they had it, the turnout was so big that it was actually, from what I understand, was overwhelming for the venue. And so they found a new venue this year. And just had the DFO, which is the Degenerate Flame Off, if those that don't know what that is. And they basically had competition for artists. They had a collab artists that were working together. They had demonstration artists. They had cold working artists. And then they had the Boro Derby there as well, which is freaking awesome. And there's a bunch of information you can go to on dfoportland.com, which is the website for the DFO. You get some information on that. I'm sure 2019 it'll be back again, which is pretty cool. But definitely something interesting that has just happened in this industry, and I'm glad to see it come back. Definitely follow them on Instagram too. Just look up DFO on Instagram. You'll definitely be able to find their page. Again, it's just a lot of fun to seeing all the stuff, all the artists getting back together, those that haven't worked for a while together, that got to get to work together. Like Laceface, for instance, having her on the show and talking about her last 2 years and journey, what she's been through, and it's her first time getting back out and getting to work with some of her friends in the industry. So just super cool stuff going on, which I really dig. The trade shows are rolling around, doing their thing as always. Again, the weird flux going on with the industry with the oversaturation per se of glass blowers, but then it doesn't seem like that should be because of legalization changes and all these new smoke shops that are opening, and we're all still trying to get down to the bottom of what the hell's going on, and we probably never will, but it is what it is. It's just the industry and business and the ebbs and flows of the way that things work out, and all you can do is just ride the waves or the roller coaster or whatever other term you want to use or cliche for the business side of things, the ups and the downs and the ups and the downs. And the biggest advice I can give to you is to always be prepared for the downs. Dave Ramsey likes to call it the squirrel fund, which basically, in the wintertime, the squirrels have all their nuts stored away. So when it's cold out and the oak trees aren't growing the acorns anymore, they have their storage of acorns to keep themselves fed. And when it comes to business, money is the same way. The ups and the downs and the trade shows that come and go and, whatever else. And you always want to make sure that you're financially prepared for those months or the days or the weeks or whatever long time term period that it is that you're going to be slow. It definitely makes a huge difference and will help to relieve tons and tons of stress out of your life. So definitely something to take into consideration. And also something to take into consideration is the fact that we are now officially in June, coming in on June 11th now, 2018, which is just so crazy. God almighty. But that being said, it is summertime, especially here in Florida, and I'm sure everybody else out there in the southeast or really across the country who are experiencing the effects of this heat that we're dealing with already in the 90s, which means we're all sweating our asses off in the shop and dealing with all that good stuff. So make sure you're staying hydrated, drinking lots of fluids. Try to stay away from all the sport drinks and stuff out there. They're not really that good for you. Most of it's just sugar and shit inside there. They don't put shit in it, but they might as well. But still, advice I can give is just a little pinch of some Himalayan sea salt and some ice cold water and some lemon in there, and it helps to your cells to open up and absorb your hydrated fluids. Keeps the electrolytes flowing through your body, and also helps to replenish the salt, because when you sweat out the salt in your system. And if you just drink a ton of water just by itself, you can actually deplete the salt levels in your body, which then makes you sick, which is not a good thing. And just something to think about, just for when you are doing your thing out in the studio, because again, you want to be able to go for as long as you can out in the shop, and when you're dehydrated, not only are you going to suck at your torch, but you're also going to suck at everything else you're doing. You're not going to feel good, and it's just a lot of things can go wrong. So take breaks. Make sure you got a good fan on you, keeping yourself cooled off. A little washcloth that you keep in your freezer or your fridge. Those kind of things like that to help keep you cooled down are just so important to have. And just pay attention. Listen to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs, and if it doesn't, then I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. Yeah, so that being said, I'm going to keep from rambling on too much here. I'm going to get this edited out and get this posted for you all so you have this ASAP. One thing I will say, though, just don't forget, as always, if you have not yet subscribed to this podcast, definitely subscribe to it so you can stay on top of things. You can get all the updated posts and episodes that come out. And if you have not yet gone to and checked out our Patreon page, which I don't always like to promote, but I do sometimes because this thing does cost me not too much money, but enough to make it expensive. We're doing our little Patreon drive. You can become a wise ass on there for as little as $1 a month. And that gets you into the little family and what we're going to call our group of wise asses. And as I announced last weekend, I'm still on the same thing with not making pipes anymore. So all my time that is out in the studio right now is going to be totally dedicated to the online courses that I'm doing. And I'm going to be doing a lot of other little videos on the side that are going to be just for the Patreon members only. That will be super exclusive for you. So stay tuned for that, because that has not come up yet, but that is something that is in the works. So different levels of sponsorship for the show will give you access to different levels of things. And also, really what it's going to help me do is to make this show better for you. So what you're doing is you're investing in the show to make the show better for you is what it's coming down to. And I'm just kind of the catalyst behind the scenes making these things happen. I definitely have some t-shirt designs I'm going to be putting out that will be doing giveaways for. And again, the video content, information, all this kind of stuff that's out there that does cost me out of my pocket that you can then help replenish those funds and get this better content coming out on a regular daily, weekly, and monthly and yearly basis. So that being said, you can go to patreon.com/wiseguy radio. I'll have the link in the show notes there. And again, just for as little as $1 a month, you can help out this show, which does go really far. And $1 goes a long ways, especially if there's 50 of you out there helping do that. That will help cover the fees for the monthly posts on these episodes alone. And so other than that, iTunes. If you have an iPhone, you can go there and subscribe to the show on iTunes and leave us a review. You can do that right through the app nowadays, which is nice. They updated the app last year. If you're on another phone besides the iPhone, you can download Stitcher or a couple different other apps that are out there. Or you can also just go to wiseguymedia.com, hit the podcast link we have on there, and you can listen to the show directly off of the website too. And as we keep continuing, myself with my free time I have from work, I'm continually uploading and getting new content up on the website as well. So just stay tuned for all that stuff. And also, when you go to the website, a little pop-up is going to come up. It's going to give you a chance to subscribe to our newsletter. And in the newsletter, not only will you get all the information for this podcast episode, including a link to the individual episode, you'll also be up to date on all things that are going to be exclusive for our newsletters, which will then coincide to the Patreon page, so everything's going to eventually be all connected together for some serious exclusive content that I will be sharing. And my kiln is down right now, and I think I mentioned it last episode. My thermocoupler went out, so what I'm going to be doing is a video on how to go through everything from purchasing the thermocoupler to removing the old one and also installing the new one. And I have an AIM kiln, so we'll be doing it for an AIM, and it's a Fiji digital controller switch that runs this thing. So it's something I had not done with this particular type of kiln. I've had different kilns over the years that I've done the same exact replacement part thing for, except for the AIM. So I think it's all the same, more or less. But we'll find out together because I'm going to be making a video about it. And so until next time, I'm going to get the hell out of here. You guys enjoy this episode. Any comments, questions, concerns, hit me up at wiseguymedia@gmail.com. My info at wiseguymedia is not working for some reason. I don't know what the hell is wrong with it. I got to go on to GoDaddy and see what's up with it. But, wiseguymedia@gmail.com. Or you can also hit me up on my Instagram. You can go on Instagram for the podcast is wiseguy_radio. My personal Glass page is J Michael Glass, all one word, JMICHAEL Glass. And if you want to stay in touch and see just some of my past functional work and also the current ones that I have inventory of that I'm going to be posting on my page there that will be available, which is going to be my last functional pieces here for the next year or so. I'm making available for whoever wants to pick these guys up and add to their collection. You can find that on Instagram at myfunctionals, at MyFunctionals. I'll have, again, all those links in the show notes for you to go check out. And until next time, again, hope you guys enjoy this conversation with Jeremiah, episode 194. And we'll see you next time on the Wise Guy Radio Show. Y'all take care of yourselves. Love you so much. Thank you for the support and all the kind words. We'll see you soon. Peace. What's up, Jeremiah? Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me, Jason. Good to be on the show.
Yeah, dude. Same here, man. Appreciate you coming on last minute here. It was definitely a close call to not having an interview this week. So I appreciate you being willing to come on. And also, definitely appreciate the connection with Rex Estrada, man. It was a lot of fun conversation and completely off the cuff of what I'm used to having on the show. So it was definitely a pleasure to have him on and to just have a whole different kind of conversation besides talking glass, which one of the reasons I like doing the show is to talk things outside of the glass world.
That's why I love Rex, man. He's very eclectic on his thought process, and it's another world, and it's nice. It's almost refreshing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the amount of information that he spewed out, I had to go back and listen to it just to kind of like catch up with my notes and stuff to make sure I was on point with everything. It was definitely fascinating talking about all that stuff.
Yeah, I usually have notes when I talk to him.
Hell yeah, but enough about him, dude. Let's talk about you. So let's get started here. If you want to introduce us or guys tell us how you were introduced, I should say, to the Flame.
Yeah, man. So I started around May of last year on a friend's equipment, actually Rex's. We're the only two people in the same town that had the same interest together. So instead of it being like here, let me show you how to make this, and you mimic it, it was sit beside me on my extra bench that I have, and you just do you. And if you have any questions, I'm here. And that really helped me learn how to be able to, not be on somebody else's hour and, somebody stopping me for mistakes. I was able to recognize, make those mistakes on my own, and then fix them. And that's what really drove me to loving this is the art of recovery in a sense, is being able to crack something, look at it and be like, no, I'm going to fix that crack and start making it work. And then creating these beautiful things that don't seem like they can be solid. That's another thing it drives me crazy. I love it. But that was like a 1 week in a month situation with Rex. I wasn't trying to use all his gases and propane. I was putting in as much as I could. He was it was more or less, come over, keep me company, and, you can use the torch. And it was nice. Probably about the end of January this year. End of January this year, I decided that I was going to go full time. I had a outdoor screened-in porch, kind of like a sunroom like you have in Florida, and it was dilapidated, filled with stuff. So I've spent probably a good 2 months clearing that thing out, cleaning it up. I got a kiln from Paragon, one of the big F-130s. I decided I wasn't going to get limited at any point with my kiln, and I put in all this work, and I have this amazing shop right now that I love it, man. Being in my own shop is the best thing.
Hell yeah. Do you find though, like early on working with Rex and having like someone in the shop with you kind of help keeping you going in a sense?
Oh yeah, man. Like my wife gets mad. I'm always having her come out and sit with me and help me.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like watching movies and stuff. It seems like it's like you have like somebody out there with you, or even like the podcast, like, which is another reason I do a long form version of the show, to kind of like keep the folks everybody listening to the show company while they're in the studio.
Yeah, if I don't have company, man, it's usually this podcast, or I've got Torch Talk going on in the background. Torch Talk is amazing. I love it. I started out watching Revere videos when I first got into this, and I realized after a while that a lot of Revere stuff, he was so advanced that he's not really teaching you anything. It's that basic technique he's trying to show. But when I got on Torch Talk, man, Torch Talk is just full of knowledge and information, not even just about functional. Everything lamp working. It's an awesome resource.
Yeah, those guys definitely have been growing that community too. But the frustrating aspect of having a large online community like that, in terms of like a Facebook group, is just having the issues of communication in a sense, and the trolls and the misinformation in a sense. And then you got to like dig through all the shit to find like the right stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But then I
know exactly what you're talking about.
But then they have their video content, which is all stellar stuff. They've been definitely putting a lot of good stuff together. I give mad props to those guys.
Oh, I know, man. Mike Mason is an amazing videographer. I love it.
Yeah, they put a lot of work into it for sure. Doing an audio version, I understand it, but then you add the video aspect of it and all the things that they've gone through and the growth and the issues they've had over the years. So it's definitely cool to see that, and I'm glad that they're a part of this community too.
Yeah, me too.
Hell yeah, dude. So I guess early on, you've been doing this just over a year now, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, full time now for about 4 months. It was just something inside me. I went to Colorado back in January, and I had been to Colorado previously. Me and my wife got married there back in February of last year. But we went this January again just to kind of go back to where we got married and have a little early anniversary. But went down there, man, and I don't know, something just stirred inside of me. Like the entire time, I felt real uneasy about it. Like I needed to be doing something to at least gravitate myself forward. Like I saw these pipe makers, and even bead ladies out there were making a killing, man. I couldn't come back here and do the 1 week in a month thing anymore. I came back and my heart was just on fire for glass, man. That's all I wanted to do. My wife would get mad about the amount of porch talk I was watching in the living room during the day and taking notes and trying to figure out, what my design ideas were going to be. And, I have a notebook already full of stuff that I'm not even prepared to make. I'm not even at that level yet. It's ready. It's waiting.
Yeah, man, that's important though that you're still jotting that stuff down, because when you are at that point in time, then you'll be, you'll have all kind of shit to make.
Yeah, exactly. I actually just went out to an art bazaar show yesterday at a local smoke shop, and they were really, really kind enough to let us all come out there and a couple of glass artists and display our work, and for free, no sales tax, nothing in their shop, and they were just bringing us business essentially for nothing.
Wow.
They gave us free food and everything. And it was nice, man. Like I didn't make a killing or anything like that. I don't think anybody there did. It was just a normal Sunday, but it was really cool to have people come in and look at my work. And how long you've been doing this? And just about 4 months full time now, almost a year. And they're just like, oh my gosh, wow. That was the most humbling thing for me, man. Because I am my biggest critic.
Right.
I will sit here and beat myself up about my glass and how bad it looks and how I need to do this right, and I'm going to go back and fix that. But I think that right there is how a good work ethic should go. You're always improving. You're constantly trying to reach a plateau of I would say, of your best work.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, real quick, dude, before we go any further, are you near like the bar there? Because I'm hearing like a lot of the guys in the back, like the baristas in a sense, in the background.
Oh man, yeah. I'm sorry. I've moved away.
You're good.
Hopefully it's here. If I can put my hands around it, it might actually cut out some of that sound.
Yeah, it's amazing how sensitive these microphones for the phones are nowadays.
I know, man. This is actually the one of the Bluetooth headsets, the LGs, and they're really, really good as far as the microphone goes. But it does pick up a lot of feedback.
Yeah. It's all good. I was just hearing like the ice being scooped and shit.
My bad.
No, you're good, dude. It's all good. It's hard to tell because like when I walk the parks, when I'm on my breaks, I'll have my earbuds in, and I'm always like like at first I didn't know, and then I had to be like cautious about like where I was walking if the music was so loud because it was like it would come on and whoever I was talking to would have their ears blown out from the background sound.
And this is my torch headset too, man. I'll sit on the torch and just listen to music in this thing. It's just booming.
Hell yeah. But yeah, dude, it's kind of back on the thing. So something I find, at work, I get all day long. It's I get a lot of praise from the guests, and I've have found over the years, which and on a side note, I always am very appreciative and love the guests when they give me feedback and tell me the talents I have, etc. I definitely don't take any of it for granted ever. But what I found that there was a point in time when I was doing certain characters and I would get a little complacent with what I was making because the guests would see it and they're like, oh my God, that's fucking amazing. And I'm like thinking to myself, it's looking pretty good too. But it wasn't up to par to where it should be in a sense. You know what I mean? So and I was getting kind of complacent with it. And I found like I had to find that point to where, I was grateful for their compliments, but understanding that their perspective and the true perspective of what I should be doing are two totally different things, and I know as an artist it's easy to kind of get, to lack of a better term, to be complacent with your work and kind of not want to get past you kind of plateau in a sense when you start hearing feedback like that. Like I always find
exactly.
Some of the worst things I see on Instagrams, for instance, is like a new glassblower who does an auction for something that isn't 100% clean or whatever, and they're getting a shit ton of money for it. And then it kind of sets this level for them, like a bar in a sense, that they have to, that they think that they're already at when they're really nowhere near it. You know what I mean? It's kind of a false level of something like that. If that makes sense.
Oh, it does 100%. Like I love Instagram. It's one of the best marketing tools we have right now. There hasn't been anything yet that's come back, but it's been something a little different for me. Having people say that work is good and then turn around and work's not so great. I'm almost refused to sell anything on there at this point, just till I'm at a point that I feel better about it. I have a couple of local shops that like to take my stuff and throw it in their little $5 bins and stuff like that.
Right.
That pays the bill.
Well, that being said, so to go full time, did you have like a little like money put aside for yourself, or like how financially were you able to go full time being a glassblower after not.
I had a little. Yeah, I had a little bit put aside. The rest of it, I kind of bit the bullet and did a bunch of financing with the kiln. A little bit of money to a little bit of financing for putting the shop together. But
Okay.
I mean, overall, man, I put about $5,000-$6,000 in there of my own, and then another $5,000 with loans and things like that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just curious because, like, I mean, personally, I always tell anybody. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You lose me?
Yeah, so I think Skype just bugged out for a second.
Okay. But yeah, financial recommendations is to not go in debt when you start a business, but at the same time, sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get the ball rolling,
100%, man. Like, I come from a kind of affluent family, and I'm considered the black sheep, so it was there was no way to ask anybody for help, and then the job market down here is not sustainable for anything at all. So my wife, she's a groomer at a local pet place, and she makes a very, very good living doing that. So I'm so thankful. Like, if she's listening to this, I love you, Caleb. But I'm so thankful. She does what she does, man. She has let me completely do this full time, and I haven't heard a complaint out of her mouth yet, man. I mean, she's so grateful I'm so grateful that she's letting me do this, man.
Yeah, it's huge.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's something I always talk about. Like, I'm going to bring a couple different couples on the show because I'm always interested to talk about how important the support, family support is, especially from a significant other like that, to be able to do what you got to do. Because nothing's worse than being out in the shop and feeling like you're causing resentment or a strain in the relationship because you're living your passions and dreams, and meanwhile your wife or husband's out in the real world sweating and working and slaving away to pay the bills, and you're at home fucking off according to them.
Yeah. That's why I do my best to take her to work whenever I can, take her lunch. We try to have as much time together as we can. Like, if I'm not in the shop, she's not working, we're spending time together. Like, we're not trying to get old and not know each other at all.
Yeah, man, that's huge. That's definitely important, just to kind of give the love back in a sense, and also the and the ability that you're able to do that in a sense of having your freedom to come and go because you're working for yourself.
Yeah. Definitely. I want to get to this point that, I want to get to that point that she can open up her own shop and we're both putting out the bill for it. Cause she's an amazing dog groomer, man. Like, she is these dogs, like, they are her children. It's the most beautiful thing ever.
Hell yeah.
But I'm at the point that my glass is paying for us to be able to set her up, man. That's my dream right now.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. It's going to take a lot of hard work, dude, but I'm sure, with your attitude that you have, you'll get there.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm young, so I have a long time here.
Hell yeah. How are you going about in terms of, like, figuring out what you're going to manufacture to sell, I guess? Are you just kind of stumbling and falling and just trying to find your way through the process, throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what sticks kind of thing?
That is pretty much how it is, man. I started this out thinking that I was going to get into doing proto right off the bat, and making spoons and making honey straws and just going at it. And then the more and more I made, the more I realized that I really like making different things. I like making things, I like making different thing every time. I don't like making the same thing over and over again. So I started working with doing little sculptural work. I bought a little mini wood carving set.
Nice.
And those have been the best sculpting tools I've ever used, man. I'm able to do full definitions and all kinds of stuff, man. And as far as, like, putting an eye together, the first thing I saw when I saw that iris, and Mike Mason even putting the white and then the darker dot and then the white again, man, I saw that dot stack and I was just floored. I wanted to do that, and I went out there and tried it about 100 times. Did not work. I got those carving tools though, man, and I put my dots in, shaped them out with the carving tools, and I mean it looks so amazing now. Like, it's one of the newer things I've done that I got to post on Instagram.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man, when you can see something being done, like a technique, but then you can take that technique and make your own thing with it. Not necessarily, make eyeballs, but you understand, what a dot stack tech is, and you can do that in all kind of shit now.
I won't say who is a special tech, but there is a friend of mine that has an amazing technique that is a hot shop technique that they adapted, and I've never seen anybody take a hot shop technique like this and do it, and it's just... I would love to share it, but I'm pretty sure he paid me for it.
Yeah, it's understandable.
But yeah, man, I think my work, I've definitely adapted a lot of soft glass techniques into my work, especially like the using smaller tools and things on a miniature scale and working out from there. I definitely have not bought any expensive tools since starting this. Nothing Jim Moore, nothing Carladonna. That's the dream. That would be nice to me, but it's almost like buying a Gucci bag when you really just need a backpack.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Thank you. Yeah, I made my own jacks out of some non-serrated tweezers. I actually learned that from a Yushin video from a couple years ago.
Hell yeah.
Those jacks have been the best tool that I've had so far, as far as opening tubes up and flaring things out. And then I made my own bail biters, which, God, I love those things. Pendants are probably my bread and butter. I think the two pictures I sent you over are probably my two favorite pieces at this point.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
go on.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I always thought the bail biters at first, like when I first saw those, I was like, that's fucking cheating. But there's no cheating in glass blowing when it comes down to it. Whatever does the job, you know.
Yeah, exactly, man. My thought process into this is if I can do it easier and save myself time, do it. I mean, as long as it's not affecting the quality at all, as long as the quality is still the same, then there's no reason to not use an easier tool and make your job easier.
Yeah, exactly. And when it comes to pendants, dude, a fucking bail or a loop, whichever term you want to use for it, is what it is, no matter how you make it.
Exactly, man. You can't do anything different than a hole.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So, what'd you use to make your own little tool with?
Well, I got a pair of long, thin needle nose pliers from Harbor Freight. A lot of my tool packs come from Harbor Freight. I go buy packs of tweezers and packs of riches from there for about $4, and I'm able to make a bunch of stuff with them.
Nice.
But these long needle nose, I just took each tip and put it in the torch flame, let it get red hot, and I took a pair of pliers and just bent them inwards to face each other.
Hell yeah.
To where each tip is facing inwards, and it's worked ever since.
Nice. Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, dude, Harbor Freight, you can't beat them. I should, hashtag not sponsoring the show here, but, it'd be great to have them on as a sponsor because we talk about those fuckers all the time on here.
I know, man. Like, I have not had a problem with them. I know there were some posts going around on Torch Talk where somebody was using a disc grinder and they took the guard off like an idiot and the thing shot in their face and was stuck in their jaw. But, I mean, that's their own fault.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid. I didn't see that.
Yeah, but Harbor Freight's great, man. And I recommend to any viewers listening right now, man, if you can go out, again, hashtag not sponsored, right? But
Yeah.
you can go out to Harbor Freight. They have a 4-inch wet tile saw for about $40. And that is going to be 100% your best investment going into this, in my opinion, because that right there, you can cut your bail ends. If you want to do 2 bails, you can cut real easy on those. If you have anything that is just, you want to get angles, faceting, anything like that on, I've been able to do some amazing stuff with that thing. You can even put sanding wheels on it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, it seems like their machinery is is really good, and then you can spend the extra money on a really nice, bit or blade or whatever you need to get,
Exactly. Yeah. That's my thing. If I can get it the cheapest and then expand it and make it better, that's the best way. Like I do some space glass stuff. That's kind of what I'm into right now, learning space glass. And with space glass, you have to use a cheese grater most of the time. And, my wife was getting a little mad about me using the cheese grater. So I actually went out to Walmart, man, and they have these little triangular prism cheese graters that are real small, and they have a small side, a bigger hole side, and then they have a side for slices. And I actually put that on handle, and I've been able to make better space glass than ever with that thing. I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to start making them and releasing them and see if anybody wants them.
Right.
I'm able to do crescent moons with them and just all kinds of stuff that I wasn't able to do before. Some things I hadn't seen yet, which I'm really excited to get that tool out there. I want to see what some of these 15-year space glass workers can do with it, man.
Yeah. Did you send me pictures of those pieces?
No, I didn't send you pictures of that. I will definitely after this episode, though.
Yeah, I'd like to see that for sure. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it definitely is, man. I like it a lot. Yeah, making tools Nathan Smith has really been an inspiration for me this entire time. Is just, he has made some of the most amazing scratch polish tools that are out there. you talk about Jim Moore and Carl Adana. I think Nathan Smith is, the new one of those three, of that group now.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's cool, man, seeing like the evolution of this industry and all the little side companies that have been, born, like the little boutique companies I call them, that are, born out of it from, for necessity, tools that, like you're saying, with this cheese grater concept,
Yeah.
It's crazy. All these color companies and tool companies and everything else. It's pretty badass. But then it's you look at the overall scene in a sense, and it's the pipe scene's become so saturated in a sense with pipe makers. It's good to see, like, yourself and included, some of these younger generation glass artists that aren't necessarily running towards the pipe. They just want to run towards the concept of learning how to work boro or glass in general, so they can make whatever they want to make.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much. It was very humbling, honestly.
Yeah.
But it was rough to see getting in this. I'm probably going to get a little bit of fleck for this, but I am 100%. I do not like work culture. I definitely like that we have a counter permaculture where everybody's cool with each other. There's no drama really, but the woke culture to me has seemed to cause the most issues, and then the lamp working culture has been.
Yeah, man, there's been some fucking hilarious memes though that have come out of it.
Oh yeah, dude. I won't. I'm not gonna say I didn't laugh at anything.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I belong to a private glass blowing tips for dicks, man, and they're pretty funny. They've got a lot of stuff like that on there.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and that's what's kind of interesting too with this, like you're saying with the pipe culture. There's all these little subcultures amongst it, and really, I mean, just the glass world in general. There's like all these little subdomain cultures involved in everything. But it's cool to see, like, over the last decade, kind of the whole glass world in general has really come together, and like, everything was kind of segregated for a long time. If you're a lamp worker, you're obviously right away they thought, oh, you're a pipe maker, fuck you, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Specifically, man, I can remember her Instagram name, but I can't remember her right now. But it's MZ Glass, and it's Margaret Designs, I think is her name. And they just did a torch talk on her recently, where she had done the butterflies, and she makes real beautiful lamp work butterflies. Like she was a bead lady, and this woman has come onto my Instagram and has liked all of my posts, and has been the most, probably out of everyone, she's like the most famous glass artist on my Instagram that is constantly giving me support. She's constantly DMing me, telling me how awesome my stuff is. And it just makes me feel like really, really good that we've gotten to this point now that we are not, relegated to the back of the showrooms. We're all together as lamp workers.
Yeah, dude, it's a beautiful thing because the more we all come together and share techniques, the more it all kind of merges and molds, and we take techniques from each other. Because I know, like myself, doing hot shop work the last year and a half or so, there's so much stuff that I've brought from the torch to this hot shop that I've tried doing and has just by chance worked. And I don't know if it was beginner's luck or it's just because glass is glass, whatever the fuck wherever you're working it doesn't really matter. It just is, technique is technique. But then now I'm bringing that hot shop techs over into my torch work, and it's definitely the same thing. It's kind of like, things are your hand skills, a lot of different things work out. Now when it comes to like using like soft glass on the torch for myself, doing like lamp work beads and that kind of stuff, I make more of a mess than anything. I'm still learning that aspect of it.
Yeah, man. I like when you told me, when I had heard on the last one that you weren't doing pipe making anymore, man. That I'm pretty sure your people that follow you were probably like, oh God, no, why? And the minute I heard it, man, I was like, good for him. Like, he's diversifying. He's taking a step back from something that he probably at this point, man, it probably got boring for you, is what I'm assuming.
Well, honestly, for me personally, the pipes have become something that I don't have the time or energy to dedicate to anymore. Like I want to. Okay. And because my time at home, like I've got 3 days off, and 2 of my days are dedicated to my kids, and my other days to the show. And I really want to be able to focus. If I'm on the torch at home, I want to be able to focus it to the podcast and to the educational side of stuff, and getting things done. And it's also just getting burnt out in a sense too, because I'm on the torch. I mean, I'm doing 54, or actually I'm doing like, I guess was it 80 hours now, 82 hours every 2 weeks I'm doing. No, what is it? 85. I'm doing like 85 hours or something like that. Our schedules got changed.
And that's just in the hot shop?
No. That's just on the torch at where I'm over at Disney. But yeah, if I'm in the hot shop too, it's usually we have 8 to 12 hour days. Depends on where we're working at. But usually when I'm on the torch, it's a 12-hour day.
Man, Magic Kingdom is fueled by glass, man.
Yeah. It sure is, man. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, so, coming home and I'm like, okay, I'm not really feeling it right now. But it's also having to do, like, I've been dealing with just a lot of just muscle tendon strain and pain from just overworking and doing stuff that I'm not used to doing, like working on these newer characters that are large items that I'm not used to physically carrying that kind of weight in my hands. I'm doing this for almost 20 years. I'm getting arthritis and some different things I've been dealing with. So I'm just kind of figure when I'm home, if I'm on the torch, I'm going to do stuff for the podcast and just keep things simplified, as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, I understand that. I remember a couple of episodes back, man. You were talking about you had been in contact with this Instagram fitness group or something like that.
Yeah. Zen Dude Fitness.
Yeah, man. That's what I was gonna say, man. Like I'm back on a gym regimen. I've probably always been overweight the majority of my life, and this year was the year that I decided I wasn't gonna be like that anymore. So I started the keto, and then I'm on a gym regimen now, man. And I've got to the point where I was leaning on my bench when I was sitting in my chair, and it's to the point now, man. I have a standing mat. If there's no chair there, I stand at my torch the entire time now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm only 23, but I already have the degenerative arthritis in my back, so I'm trying to reverse that as soon as possible. I still have enough time.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, posture and body mechanics when you're doing, which we do, is so important. Because I know, like myself, I find, when I'm moving my hands at certain angles, doing certain work or whatever it is I'm doing, like I find like my body or my head wants to turn with my hands, and it's like I'm trying to keep myself, even for after all these years, I still find myself doing it, and I'll lock myself into a position or a pose for 5 minutes or something like that, and it doesn't seem like a lot of time, but when you do that consecutively for over a 10-hour day, I find like one whole side of my body is sore because I'm like contorting myself trying to get these weird angles or something I shouldn't be doing necessarily or whatever, and standing's important.
I think that is the only downside to flow state, man, is you get so into it that you hurt yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you get to get that focus zone going. But like you're saying, I think like the sitting, standing, going back and forth, which is what I typically do, it's definitely helpful. But when you're sitting, you just got to remember just the body posture is just so important because you can just be hunched over and, fuck yourself up. Because like I know over the first decade of doing this, my left side of my body became overdeveloped because it's like my steering hand in a sense. And that's exactly what I tell everybody, man. That's my drive hand. This is my turning hand. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and my massage therapist is like, you got to start working out your right side of your body more so just to help yourself balance out. Because I was so overworked. And so that's when I started doing the jump rope and stuff. And I found that alone was such a big impact in physically, but also the mechanical side of my body, like keeping my joints lubricated better and keeping my body balanced even more so. I've been lazy as hell like the last 6 months to 8 months or so on the working out. But that being said, it definitely helped kind of get me out of that rut of physically not feeling good because of working all the damn time and being stuck in a position.
No, definitely. I mean, if you're gonna try the keto diet like you were talking about, that right there will be it will help you a lot with the joints and being able to move a little bit easier. I know right now, man, I have more energy than I've ever had in my life. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. That's one of the things I hear about it. It's the energy and the extra focus that you get besides the weight loss and everything else involved in the whole process.
Yeah, I actually I was turned on to it. I'm pretty active on Instagram, as you can tell. I DM quite a few people just to keep my Instagram presence up. I have some followers that I talk to on the daily right now, and it's pretty great to have that. But there was this one guy, and he's a pretty popular extraction consultant at this point in California. He's not even an artist anymore. He does consulting, which is pretty nice. But he at one point we had gotten to talk about things, and he had said that he was on this keto diet. I was like, man, that sounds really, really interesting. Can you tell me more about it? He was talking about how he wasn't eating carbs anymore, how it was making him feel a lot better. And he said that he was getting an insane amount of things done, just a crazy amount of stuff done, to the point that he is just, he's working way harder than he ever has. He has more focus than he ever has, and he was talking about, like, he went down to the planning office for a new permit that he needed, and he had all this paperwork done, ready, had backup done, and everybody was just Like, okay, you don't need to do anything else. Good job. And I mean, you can rarely go to the planning office, not have to go back.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely want to get it going. Because once I get that going, then my exercise regimen will come back in play, and whatever else. I mean, like I'm walking probably 8,000 to 10,000 steps a day still, just to keep that going, which is still a big important thing to have.
Yeah, my biggest thing was getting back into cardio. Definitely, it's at that point now where me and my wife can do about 3 miles on the treadmill at a pretty good pace. So it definitely helps, man. It definitely helps.
Yeah, it does, especially with our, with what we do. I find myself, you get meditative in a sense, and you start breathing really shallow and slow, and your cardio is affected because of how you're not really pumping your lungs and your heart, because you're so relaxed throughout the day while you're working,
Right.
And I didn't even take that into account for first decade of what I was doing glass until I went up a flight of stairs, and I'm like, why am I so winded, and then I realized it's because I don't have any really cardiovascular exercises that I'm doing.
No, man, and you got kids too. You can't be winded with kids yet.
No, exactly. Yeah, it definitely helps. And plus, I just, being a 41 this year, I still want to make sure that I'm in as peak of health as I possibly can be, just to have a nice, long, healthy life. I don't want to be 80 and decrepit and old and hating how I'm feeling, wishing I was dead.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't want to make it seem like a darker tone or anything, but I lost a stepfather to Alzheimer's last year, man. 5 years of that, I was there taking care of him on hospice the entire time, and it was a morbid experience. It brought me to some realizations that I definitely needed to have in my own life. It's just one of those things. It's like, you're gonna. The best way to put it is you're gonna shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely, dude. 100%. Yeah, I did the same thing with my dad's parents, watching them go downhill like that with Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff. It's not really, it's not fun to see, man. It definitely sucks, especially when it's something in the brain that's just, it's fucked up to see it happen. It sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, definitely, I'm a stronger person for going through it, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely makes you aware of that we're not, that we're all immortal, or not mortal, we're immortal. What's the term?
Yeah. Yeah, man, it made me realize mortality. I agree with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny. So I guess in terms of the glass stuff, so now that you're, finding your way in a sense with what you want to do you find yourself starting to get a production line going? Or are you trying to avoid the production line of stuff, since you're mentioning, not like making the same thing over and over again?
Yeah, at this point, I'm avoiding production, man. I get focused on certain things, and I'll just stay focused on them. So avoiding the production kind of helped me be able to, I can be eclectic. I can jump around if I want to. I don't have to wait, sit 1 week on something. Like right now, I'm doing these little monsters for D&D miniatures. Like when people play Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinders, tabletop games. I want to do these little. I have ideas for, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's called a Beholder from D&D. It's the giant eye with a bunch of little eye stalks coming out of it. That's my next project right now.
Interesting.
So, it's just, it just, if I see it and I want to do it, I'm going to do it at that point. Like, I take a notebook around with me, a little sketchbook. If I see something in nature that I want to make in glass, I'm going to draw it out as best I can. And I learned that from, and now I can't even remember their names, man, but there were some glass blowers in the 1900s that you can go look at their work at Corning on their website. But they would go on merchant ships, and they would pull up sea creatures and sea life and draw them to the most extreme detail. And it's just, I saw that, and I took that and ran with it, man. I was like, okay, cool. This is more than just doing stuff in glass. This is about doing art elsewhere. This is about doing your art, in the field, having, research, and just, man, I'd rather see myself as a glass scientist than anything at this point.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's a fun perspective to have. And then, to recreate things that you see like that in glass is pretty badass. It's like the Blaschka family, like all the crazy stuff they did for...
That's exactly what I was talking about, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's insane, though, and especially with the techniques they use that, have more or less been lost in a sense. And, their secrets.
Yeah, they made their own dyes for painting, just all kinds of stuff, man. It was... I don't even know, there's somebody out there with that knowledge, but we'll never find it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, if anything, I guess, as we progress in our glass, you see a lot of artists out there now that are making some pretty realistic looking stuff. It's pretty badass to see it, and also like in different sizes and scales wise, and also in different types of glass blown, from the hot shop to soft glass on the torch. I mean, it's pretty amazing to see it, seeing this catalog of work.
It's from what used to be, the old websites that have gone down now, the old collections of glasswork, to now. I mean, you wouldn't even think it was the same universe at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you think like you'll get into the pipe scene like for yourself, or is it just mostly you're just kind of just trying to learn the medium and find your way?
I've thought long and hard about that lately. That's been one of my biggest, conflictions. But I think at this point, man, I'm learning the medium. I see myself doing more, museum pieces over functional, and the miniatures like I was talking about over functional. That right there seems to be where I'm leading towards. Because like I said in the bio, I've always been an artist at heart, man. I have pencil drawings. I play guitar constantly. I play piano constantly. It's just I've always been a creative. So limiting myself like that just doesn't seem like the best idea. Now, don't take me wrong, man. I will 100%, make that stuff if I feel like, I can do something really cool that'll do that also, and I'll go that direction. But at this point, I definitely want to go with my heart, and where my heart's falling, my heart.
So that being said, do you find that like glass as a medium has been easy for you in a sense?
Yes, definitely. I don't want to, toot my own horn and blow myself up at all, man. But it has been something that I've definitely been able to get into way easier than I thought I would. Just, I welded in high school, so knowing the gas mixtures helped, and then just being able to have all this electrical knowledge from, I could rebuild that kiln if I want to. I know how to read schematics pretty well, so it's just having all of that as a foundation. Getting into this, I was like, okay, this is easy. This is not going to be as hard as I thought. Now making stuff on Rex's level, that right there, that's not, I'm not saying I can do that yet, but it's definitely, I can make the simpler things like the shapes and being able to carve stuff out. It's way easier than I thought it was going to be.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's weird because I'm in the kind of in the same boat. Like glass for me was just, for whatever reason, it was my medium for art. Like I paint and draw and sketch and all kind of fun stuff, and play music too. But I don't know what it is about the glass, but it's like I just tapped into whatever its essence is pretty quickly early on, and I just kind of grew with it into my now 40s. And again, for whatever reason, it's just something that it speaks to me in a way that no other art has. It's just weird.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man, that's how you know it's your true calling, 100%. That's how you know that is what you are meant to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, I completely agree. Do you have another artistic background in a sense since you were a kid?
Oh yeah, man. My entire family is just comprised of my older brother is a tattoo artist. He's an amazing tattoo artist. It's quite good. And then my older sister is also she's a paint medium artist. She actually does mixed media more than anything, but she's right now on some paint media, and she does this. It's like I would say it's a mixture between abstract and the Black Plague, which is kind of cool.
Okay.
She's got a lot of like plague doctor stuff going on, which is pretty interesting. She does a lot of deformed crows and stuff like that. It's quite different to see. It's art that you wouldn't see anywhere else. She's actually working on a gallery right now, opening one up for her own work, and then to have other artists demonstrate there. So.
Hell yeah! Is she in Texas with you?
Yes. Actually, we're all in Houston. So
okay.
Just kind of, we don't like getting away from our family. It seems like.
Yeah. No, I understand that, man. Most of my family's in Florida, so I understand that for sure. Yeah, it'd be pretty badass though, man. If she gets a gallery going, you can get your glass in there one of these days, as an art show.
That's the intention. That definitely is. I've been helping her scout some places out specifically for that. So.
Heck yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of fun, man. So, something I was going to ask you earlier, too. Oh, yeah, with the Dungeons & Dragons stuff. It's because myself personally, I'm not really familiar with the game. Like, my son, he's going to be 11 this year, and he's just now gotten into it himself, playing the game, which I think is pretty cool. But do you find, like, those kind of, I guess, genres, in a sense, for lack of a better term, are kind of like inspiration for a lot of your work that you're doing now?
I would think so, but it definitely seems like I go between a few other things too, man. Like in Houston, we have the whole purple drink thing that everybody's about. So I'll find myself making little cups with spilling purple out that I learned from my mentor. He is very good at those. I'm working on those right now. Just I definitely go from I definitely work with themes
Mm-hmm.
more or less. But yeah, it seems like the fantasy theme is where I've been. I'm a little stuck there. I like it a lot. There and post-apocalyptic. I'm in love with Fallout. That's one of my favorite game series. So, making right now I'm working on a little miniature TV that looks like the Fallout TV.
Interesting. Heck yeah. I think too, like those kind of things, like early on making, is a lot more forgiving in a sense, because it's not like exact art or realism in a sense. I'm trying to say, so you can make something a little more abstract or whatever, and still.
That's how I've always described. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's how I always describe my style as abstract. Like anytime I list anything on Etsy or anything like that, it's abstract art.
Heck yeah. Yeah, it's important because that way you know your work, which is a smart thing. Hell yeah! So are you gonna do have an Etsy page, or like you're saying, do you already have that going?
Yeah, I actually have an Etsy up. It's under Benge Finding Glass, and then I have a big cartel up too under Benge Finding Glass. That no sales or anything at all yet, but it's nice to have them already set up and going and ready.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few items on there. If any of my Instagram followers ever decide that they want to buy something, it's already there. It's ready to be shipped out. I even give the Instagram followers a little discount for if they're actually following me and can show me they're following.
Nice. Yeah, something new I've learned too with Instagram that I don't even know when they started doing it, but if you have your Facebook business page and your Instagram connected together, and then you have your website connect or whatever your online store is in a sense, then you can actually tag your images. Like say you have a product you want to sell on Instagram or promote whatever. You can have your image up there, and then you can actually tag that product with a link basically to the website, so you can just click on that fucking picture on the link on the tag, and it sends you directly to the store that you're selling it on, instead of having to go to your bio and go to go on to your website, blah blah blah. It's a pretty cool little new feature.
I set that up. That was one of the first things I set up with my Facebook business, man. I went ahead and bit the bullet, set up all these pages, and I'm ready for it whenever it starts flooding in a little better.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Are you posting at least once a day on your Instagram?
I'm trying to, definitely. I've had a couple of things going on last week that's kind of prevented me from doing that. But that's something I try to do. If I don't post once a week, I tend to post on Wednesdays. That's kind of been my go-to day, Wednesday nights, or around Wednesday about 4 o'clock. It seems like if I do that, most people are getting off of work about 5, and they're looking at their phones, and it seems to give me a lot of traffic. So I shoot for Wednesdays, but yeah, definitely I try to do every day.
Yeah, it's so crazy with all the algorithms. Like my daughter and I, we've launched our little T-shirt company, our Inspired on Main Street, that thing that we're doing. And
speaking of which, man, that is awesome what y'all are doing. I absolutely love it.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, we're having a lot of fun with it. We're learning a lot too as we're doing this whole thing too, which it's been fun. Trying to learn a whole different area of sales and a product line. But posting the Instagram stuff and keeping the algorithm going and trying to look at your insights and see who's seeing what and when and where and why. It's so important to keep track of that kind of shit. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but still, it definitely is time consuming.
Yeah, I actually just showed Rex that if you set up your Instagram page as a business, you can actually see the metrics of everything. So he's gonna get on that pretty soon, I hope.
Yeah. It's definitely important. The only downfall is for the pipe makers that want to keep their shit private in a sense, you can't keep it private. If it's a business page. But other than that, the benefits are definitely huge for it.
I mean, if you're making glass to sell the community, I see no reason for keeping your page private. Excuse me if I burped on there, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a struggle for me for a long time to go. I was going back and forth between private, public, with my job and stuff, and not wanting to have the connection with Disney and the pipes and all that kind of shit. So over the last 6 months, I've pulled every pipe that I had on my page off of it, and then created my functionals page, just to have a separate account just for my functional work. Just to keep it that way, so I can then keep my other page a public page for whoever wants to go on
Yeah.
there.
If I ended up, blowing glass anywhere like that, man, where it was something of that situation, I would do the same thing 100% because I'm still in Texas. There's still an issue here, so I wouldn't want that as my main thing. So.
Yeah, so
But, I mean, y'all are lucky. Y'all just y'all had that judge rule for y'all in the favor of allowing y'all's medical marijuana program to go down. That's kind of cool.
hell yeah, it's the laws here are fucked up though, because like right now with our governor Rick Scott, he's so from what I understand, he has had the largest fine from the government for fraud in the healthcare system. And with his connections with the pharmaceuticals, a lot of us were talking about, like, if we ever had medical here, that unfortunately it would probably turn into something that was more not the flowers, it'd be something more pharmaceutical related, which is what it's turned out to be. So they're really fighting with the laws right now here to get the growers to be able to sell flowers and not just to have everything be an extract or a liquid form. It's not even really an extract. It's like a tincture or some kind of liquid form.
Suspended in alcohol.
Yeah,
they're suspended in alcohol. It's not good at all.
No.
Yeah, Texas is like that right now too, man. We have a very limited program at this point. It seems like it was built around our governor being able to use it. We have a governor that is handicapped, and it seems like it was built around him being able to use it, and only him.
Huh? Interesting.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a very weird program.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it's, I understand, like, state to state to state, everybody's trying to figure out their laws and stuff. But I figured, with the states that are legal right now, they're a great platform to kind of copy what they've been doing to make it work.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
still seeing 10 years. I'm still seeing like 10, 15 years before we have progress, like real progress. But, I mean, that's not an issue. That's our industry. I mean, it's not the 100% our industry. You definitely don't have to worry about that as much, man. I mean, it's just something that we have to keep an eye on just in case at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have a couple of the guys that are running for governor here for the next round. They've been talking about actually making it recreationally legal here, which would be killer.
Man, that would be, because you'd have it at one end and the other end.
Yeah, it would just simplify everything.
That'd be a nice little transition.
Yeah, exactly. Can you hear the rain in the background? It started pouring here.
Man, that must be nice. It's like it's 5 o'clock and it's still 95 degrees here right now. It feels like 108. So.
Yeah, it's probably 93-ish outside right now, even though it's raining.
Yeah.
It's going to become a sauna here.
I've actually got family out in an area called Avon Park down there.
Oh, yeah.
So, it's nice to go out there and visit. They're out in the middle of the orange groves, so it's weird being out in, 6 miles into a grove and you finally see a house.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's a place I went and visited here. It's called the Bach Tower, and I'll put it up on Instagram. I have a video I took of it, and it was basically a monument this guy built years and years and years ago, and it's got a bell tower in the very top of it. I don't even know what the hell the thing's called, but it's basically like a giant piano that the guy plays, and it has like levers on there that are tied to ropes and pulley systems that make the bells ring. Like it's an amazing whole structure the way this thing's designed, but it's the same thing. It's out in the middle of nowhere in this whole orange grove area, and it actually has a weird elevation to it too. So like when you're at the property, you can look out, and it's like you're up on this fucking giant hill. Like it's pretty neat. But it is out.
That is awesome.
It's out there though, man. Like you're saying, like you just drive 10 miles in through the orange groves, and all of a sudden there's this amazingly gorgeous park that has this gigantic tower on it.
No.
Yeah.
I love that. I love being able to. We have something here called the San Jacinto Monument, and it's it's about the size of the Washington Monument as far as an obelisk goes.
Wow.
And it's one of those. Every once in a while, the elevator's closed, but if you get there on a good day, you can go take the elevator to the top of it and view. And it's one of the only times I've been able to see the curvature of the Earth, besides being in a plane or using a drone.
No shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, it's really interesting to see. Like, you can actually see just that round shape starting, just very barely.
That's too cool. Yeah, I know. Like when I was a kid, we went to D.C. and did the tower or the Washington Monument before they closed it for all the renovations and stuff. And we took pictures and stuff, and it's just the view up there is incredible. But with the Bach Tower, it's closed for the public to go in there. But if you're like a member of the park or whatever, they have like different levels that you can be a member of. And the guy Yeah, as a private play, to be able to go in there as private tours. But basically, like the tower itself is all hollowed out, except for there's 2 levels. One level has a full library in it, and this guy's like, I guess the guy that owned the property and is the founder of this whole thing. Started off as a kid collecting autographs from famous people. He would he would research them, get to know who they were, and then would write them a story about how he did all this research on them and was asking for their autograph. And then the people would then write back, whether it was like Theodore Roosevelt or Helen Keller, like all these famous people. And they would actually handwrite him back a response letter to him with their signature included in there. And he started this whole book collection, which then became his library. And the library that he had is now inside this tower. And they have a model of it inside of the museum itself that they have there. And you can see the different levels and stuff. It's pretty fascinating. But I would love to be able to go up inside this thing, just to be able to see the views.
Yeah. That is really awesome, man. I'm gonna have to make that a trip. I'll see if I can give me and my wife a private membership for a month or something.
Yeah, to be able to go into it. And I think they do the tours like 4 times a year only too, so it's like super exclusive and limited. But I'm sure it'd be worth the money to be a member to get access to that thing, to be able to see it.
Yeah, and what was it called again?
I think it's like it's BOK Tower.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm interested.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
But
shit.
yeah. Oh wow, I love that. That looks like something out of the Lord of the Rings to me.
It's 100%. Crazy, dude. And the sculptural aspect of it, and like the handmade aspect of it, and the fact that there's these gigantic bells. Like they have a cutout, like a cross-section cutout of one of the largest bell inside the museum. And you can literally, like, I'm 6 foot tall, and I can stand inside this cutout, and I still have about 2 foot room above my head to where the top of the bell would actually be. And they have photographs and stuff. Oh, go on.
You're the size of the pendulum, pretty much.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy. It's crazy.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff, especially like, they're like comparing it to like the Taj Mahal in terms of when it was built and the engineering feat that they had for not having that kind of technology back then to be able to build this structure.
It's like the Coral Castle too, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Me and Rex get into arguments about the Coral Castle all the time, but it's one of those things where that man really put some work into that. Like that place is amazing.
Well, then the fact that they moved it.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And I know I've read stories where the guy said like he used like levitation and different like Egyptian type powers to be able to build this thing because of how massively large some of these square structures of the coral were that he used.
Yeah.
It's interesting, to kind of get into that kind of stuff. It's like, I wonder if that was actually real or not. But man,
to me, man, that's what I would call the ancient aliens effect. It's something like that is so interesting, regardless of if you believe it or not. You're gonna look into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and come up with some kind of theory because he definitely didn't use wheelbarrows.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I think this would be a good time for us to take a quick break here and thank some sponsors, and then we'll come back and it'll be time for us to crash the kiln.
All right, man.
Segment of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by the Flow magazine. Since its inception, the focus of the Flow has been to provide a bond among members of the lampworking community. This has been accomplished by developing relationships with the finest artists and sharing their techniques with you through in-depth step-by-step tutorials. In every issue, you can enjoy great content with the hottest artists and cutting-edge techniques using the latest industry products. These features, along with the continuation of our Women in Glass edition, Glasscraft Emergent Artist Awards, inspiring gallery showcases, dynamic general interest articles, as well as health and safety information, make The Flow the leading international lampworking journal. And if you have not yet subscribed to The Flow, you can use the coupon code WISEGUY at checkout, and you can receive 10% off your annual subscription. So just go to theflowmagazine.com. That is theflowmagazine.com. All right, man, we are back. So the Crash and Killing round consists of 7 questions, and you can give me a 30 to 60-second answer on them and expound upon them as well, as we always do. And the first question I'd like to ask, as always, is if there's any living glass artists that you haven't worked with yet and you want to, who is it and why?
Man, 100% it would be Salt Glass. This guy has been one of those in our community that's just constantly pushing out his information. Yeah, I don't think he has anything in him that he's kept to himself as far as glass blowing. Like, that man is just, I hear these like on your last episode, the guy was talking about salt. He would go do his work, and then he would go back to his station. He would do his demo, then go back to his station every single time. And then during that week, he did 27 collaborations with artists, and even some of them were, like me, just starting out.
Mm-hmm.
That right there is just it's humbling to hear. Like, it's so amazing. Like, there are, I'm trying to keep it short, sorry, but there are quite a few in our industry who are big name. I will never say anything bad about them on air, that I won't defame them like that, but they are completely against sharing any information. Like, you're going to steal their money out their mouth.
Right. Yep. Oh, I agree. It definitely exists still. And yeah, it's a good answer, dude, for sure. Yeah, he's definitely somebody I want to work with myself. He's a badass.
Yeah. Amazing. I love just the monster idea, the teeth and everything. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty cool. So what are your top 5 favorite colors in glass?
Right now, man, I would say greasy glass. His dirty grease is one of the best ambers that's out there right now for making any type of amber stuff. It has just a small amount of strike in it. It's very core, so you have these little bitty lines striking around solid amber color.
Hell yeah.
I really enjoy that. Other than that, it's a dark multi, a close second. When you start with North Star, you want to start with your first numbers, because that's how they work through everything.
Yeah.
Dark multi is one of my favorites. Any of the amber purples. I'm not going to sit here and name all the amber purples that are out there, but any of the amber purples are great, man. Even the ones that are made by other companies that don't call them amber purple.
Yep.
And then after that, man, Calypso by Molten Aura, which I'm very, very sad they have completely ran out of old stock of Calypso, and they are not doing anything else with it until they decide, a new formula.
Huh.
So I've got a little short of it that I've been holding on to for so long. I love that. It's just, it is the perfect, like, copper striking. I've never seen copper be in a glass like this and work. I mean, it's beautiful. And then the last one, man, I would definitely say would be Quasar by Molten Aura. That's what I started with, man. I saw pretty colors and I went for it.
Yeah, man, that's a good way to start, with some pretty colors.
Yep.
For sure, especially ones that are stable and work. You have to worry about them cracking and shit.
Been my biggest issue is finding stability.
Hell yeah. So even though you're new at this, what's your worst injury in the studio so far?
I am lucky enough to only have a very small burn on my knuckle from I broke a tube end open to open it up a little bit, and a piece of glass went inside the tube, so when I tipped the tube back over, it fell on that little hot piece of glass, fell on my knuckle and melted through the skin. But other than that, man, I have been pretty safe as far as it goes. I'm pretty conscious of what's around me and what's hot and what's not. I've heard enough horror stories from Rex about picking up a hot tube and putting it into his lips.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be doing that.
Hell yeah. When you're in the shop, you watch TV or listen to the radio, or do you do both?
More listening to the radio, man. I listen to a very eclectic set of music. I mean, it goes from hardcore rap to things like swing and jazz and stuff. So it's on a playlist that just goes everywhere, and it just keeps me moving. I definitely, since I started standing, I like to dance a lot while I'm working. I know it's kind of corny, but
dude.
moving.
I do the same
great,
shit.
Man.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man, just running around. Like, I'll slide to my kiln and everything. Funny, man.
Hell yeah, that's fun. If you could describe the glass of sound, the sound of glass cracking in one word, whether actual sound or like a metaphorical kind of version of it, how would you describe it?
And oh crap, honestly.
Yeah.
I know. It's pretty bad, but I tend to carry two little. If I go to, there's a studio local to me called Glass Chance Studios. They're amazing. If I ever need supplies or stuff, I go over there. It's probably about an hour away from my house, but I'll take two little like 1-inch lengths of 3mm rod with me, and I got a friend there that when he's on the torch, I'll go behind him and I'll just clank those two little pieces of 3mm rod together and scare the shit out of him. It's great.
Amazing. That's funny. You have any glass blowing theme tattoos in your early glass career?
I do not. I have about 12 tattoos right now. I'm kind of sticking with those as it is. I had them since I was about 18, so I hadn't done anything new yet. A lot of video game tattoos, but no. I definitely want a reversal though. That's one of my first ones I've been wanting.
Heck yeah. Should get your brother to do it for you or something. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely. I need to see him do a little bit more color work, but yes.
Hell yeah. Does he mostly do like grayscale?
Yes, he's I would call his style prison style. Like he does a lot of old school, old English and skulls and things like that. And it's very good. It's just I'm more for color. I love color work, so that's where I want to be at right now. Is getting more color work.
Yeah. It makes total sense. Absolutely. And last question is your top 5 favorite tools, and it does not include your glasses, kiln, or torch.
All right, definitely. I would say my jacks that I made. I have a set of fine needle nose tweezers that I use when I have very, very small openings that I do not feel like staging out. I'll take those little small tweezers and I'll open it up as much as I can. They work out pretty well.
Hell yeah.
My homemade bail biters. I mean, you can't go wrong with those things. I had no issue with them yet. I had nothing wrong with that. I made a pair of homemade mashers because I could not find a pair of parallel mashers that would do it right for me. So I made a pair myself, and they have been the best mashers I've ever made. It's another one that I want to start making to see if other people would like them.
Hell yeah.
And then, other than that, man, it would be the weed. The weed has really helped out a lot with my creativity.
Nice. It's a good tool.
Definitely.
Yeah, it comes in handy for sure.
Yeah, it keeps me clear. It definitely does. I mean, it's weird to be so connected to that lifestyle and be like, well, I like making other things. It's different, but it's definitely refreshing. Cause, like, you're a big inspiration for me on that right there, man. Like when you said that the other day, I was just like, oh my god! Like I got to message him and say, congratulate him on that. It's not a bad thing. It's like it's almost like a diversifying, being able to have more things out there.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about the Marvel group. I would love to see you do more Marvel shit. That just is amazing to me.
Hell yeah. Yeah, me too. Comes down to it. Hell yeah, dude.
Sure, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing with glass, dude. There's so many things that we can make nowadays. It's like trying to find the time to do it all. It's impossible. Like in a lifetime, I'll never do all the things on glass I want to make.
Yeah. I don't think I will either. Rex has been doing it since he was 15. I don't think he will either, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's why I like teaching this stuff, because for me, it's like, okay, if I can't make it, maybe I can teach somebody else, inspire them to want to make it, and then I can actually at least see it be made in glass, kind of thing.
I am constantly helping my fellow glass artists, man. Like, that's something I pride myself on. I don't expect anything in return. I will give people advice all day, especially from a newbie like me that has, gone through quite a bit of it already. I can give advice all day for people, and even some older glass blowers, man. Like I met a guy yesterday at the show. His name was Tasty Jams Glass. I think it's Instagram at TJM's Glass.
Okay.
And he's a really good sculptor, and I showed him the sculpting tools, and he's like, man, I need those. Like I need those today. So it's things like that, man. I will always help my fellow glass blower. There will never be a point where I'm like, give me this and then I'll help you. I may expect something eventually if I need some help or something like that, but that's not something I'm going to be like, you need to give me that. If you don't want to help me, it's cool.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, with that being said, man, if you want to give us a parting piece of advice, and then where we can find you out there in the world of cyberspace.
All right, yeah, definitely. Man, as far as advice, I'd rather actually give a quote, if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
But it's going to be in the bio, and so, if anybody hears it and you want to see it and remember it, it's something I live by. But all Emmitt Smith, when he had won his last championship with the Cowboys, man, it said, all men are created equal, some work harder in preseason. And that right there, man, I'm not even somebody who likes football that much, but I listen to a lot of motivational stuff, and that right there has spoke to me volumes. It's and we do have a season with glass. We do have we do have things like that. So what are you doing when you're not selling? You better be working.
Exactly.
That's what I live by, man. And it's I don't want to just stick with glass. I love cannabis extraction. That is one of biggest things. Like I want to get into making a lab glass and doing my own extraction. You know, that's the goal. That's the dream right now.
Heck yeah, yeah. It's definitely important, but it's also important to stop and smell the roses. Like for me, for the longest time, it was just like the grind was what it was, and kind of looking back on the last almost 20 years now, and trying to think about potentially all the things I missed out on because my head was buried in my torch. But also I know that I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for that. So it's I don't have any regrets at all for it. But at the same time, definitely the grind is a real thing, and like you're saying, man, those that whole early bird gets the worm cliche is the fucking real deal.
100%, man. I missed out on Bitcoin, and I will never live that down. So it's one of those things, man. I don't think if I see a good opportunity, I'm going to take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're not evolving, you're evolving, man.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, man. So where can we find you out there in the old cyberspace world?
Yeah, I'm at Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Benge Bang Glass. You can find me on Facebook at facebook.com//Benge Bang Glass. It's spelled with an E, not an I. That's my actual last name. Some people have asked me a few times about that. I do not binge. I promise. That's not something I do. But and then I have the Big Cartel, which you can find me at www.bigcartel.com/Benge Bang Glass. And other than that, man, yeah, that's it. I'm reachable all the time. If any new glass artists, any people that are glass collectors, anything like that, need advice in the glass world, need me to verify if a piece is legitimate, need me to tell you if you're trying a piece is gonna break, call me. Like DM me on Instagram. I'll give you my personal phone number. Whatever you want to talk about, man. I'm open for most glass blowers and most shops, most customers. Just one of those things that I can talk about a lot of things.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's important, man, to be diversified, as that kind of seems to be our running theme of the show.
I know, man. It's great. I love it. I don't want to relegate myself to just glass blowing. Like I said, there's a lot of things I'm passionate about. If I could make those things money-making opportunities, let's do it. So.
Hell yeah. Awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate your time again, and for the last minute here chit chat. It's a lot of fun, and it's especially you being a newbie as you are, and already got your head together with what you're doing, and kind of finding your little way on your own, and not paying attention really to the. I shouldn't say not paying attention because you're definitely paying attention, but you're not being influenced per se by the pipe world or the next best thing or the hype out there and everything else. You're just in your own little bubble doing your thing.
Thank you very much, man, for having me. This is I feel. Like I said, I feel like a dwarf amongst giants, man. It's pretty nice. It's very humbling.
Hell yeah. Well, I definitely like having the newbies on here, too, because it's another perspective. And
I'll send them your way all the time, man.
And I'll make sure I have all your info in the show notes for everybody to check you out for sure. And
definitely, thank you.
Yeah, man. So, hang on for afterwards. We'll say our goodbyes off the air here.
Sounds good, man.
Cool. So I hope you all enjoyed our chit-chat with Jeremiah. Definitely, it's all about diversifying your stuff, not only in glass, but just in life in general. That whole, another cliche of don't put all your eggs in one basket, it definitely makes a lot of sense, whether it's finances or your glass or relationships, friendships, you name it. Definitely need to diversify. It's important, and makes you just a well-rounded human being in general, and someone that's fun to talk to, not just some boring asshole that just talks about glass all day, which we all can do. So,
Yep. I'm guilty.
Yeah, same here. I could be that boring asshole for sure. Awesome. Well, it's summertime as always, so make sure y'all are staying hydrated out there and keeping your fluids going and taking breaks here and there and all that good shit. And other than that, we'll see you guys on the next episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. Y'all take it easy. Take care. Peace.